In Burma, which lies on ancient trade routes between India and China, both by land as well as by sea, naturally came into contact with traditions that existed at that time, both in ancient China as well as in India. The Burmese alchemical tradition ascribes its origins, however, directly to teachings of the Buddha that were brought to Burma in 228 BC by a delegation of King Ashoka at that time, and they came to have certain inscriptions and manuscripts which I was not been able to see dating back to that time. You can see the map in the upper right showing Burma, or modern Myanmar, situated as it is there just east of the Indian subcontinent, with all of China to the north. So it lay in a very, very strategic and important position. The image below is of Mount Popa, which is a sacred mountain in the central plains of Burma, and a place particularly associated with alchemy and the transmutation of mercury. Burmese alchemy is practiced both in monasteries as well as in lay settings, centering on the forging of amalgamated mercuric daton, or essence balls as they're called, derived from liquid mercury, inscribed with powers to overcome disease and actualize latent human capacities, or siddhi. Alchemical texts dating back to 1257 in Burma describe the ritual procedures involved in this transmutation of mercury into a therapeutic substance. And these were unearthed from a collapsed cave in Phye in central Burma about 20 years ago. And they remain kept in a monastery in the southeast, in the Mun State. Colonial impressions in Burma, in the earliest known English language account of Burmese alchemy, which was published by Sir George Scott, also known by his Burmese name, Shui Yo, in 1882, he wrote that the Burmese have no more escaped from the craze for the discovery of the philosopher's stone than have other civilized peoples. Even at the present day, there are numbers of goldsmiths and other handicraftsmen in the principal towns of Lower Burma who might be prosperous and happy did not the craving for the discovery of a means of making gold perpetually disturb their minds and impel them to waste their earnings in dabblings with mercury and strange-looking mineral and vegetable products. Mercury is what the experimenter always starts with. Every would-be discoverer commences his researches with mercury, and it is on this account a matter for congratulation that is so expensive. Otherwise, we might have far more people doing damage to themselves and others than is even now the case. These are some of the kind of key figures in the early history of Burmese alchemy and use of mercury. Bobo Ong, on the left, in the statue form, as well as in the upper right, dating back to the 17th century, and the other figure on the lower right, which you see, Bo Ming On, who was a very, very important 20th century alchemist who was very, very involved with the use of mercury as a means for overthrowing British colonial rule. And I'll mention some of that at the end. He was a very, very interesting figure. I'm not sure why that's not formatted correctly. Any contemporary mercury eaters in Burma include some of the following people that you see here, the ones on the lower right holding in their outstretched hands the mercuric balls, or datlon, which literally means from datu, or essence, which they use in their meditations. The rationale of making these balls is not only are they medicinal, but if held inside the mouth while meditating, confer an ability to reach deeper states of meditation. And also these are forged periodically by the monks in this particular monastery, and each time that they forge them, the ball will appear differently and always held to be a reflection of the actual inner state and spiritual progress of the practitioner. So depending on the way that the ball comes out of the forge, you would be engaged in particular practices that might differ one from the other. Often, even though there's never any gold involved in the forging of these amalgamated balls, sometimes a kind of gold appearance will occur, and at that time you have to take your datlon and you keep it in hot water or tea, and you drink it periodically until all of the gold has been ingested into your body. And the claim is that during that phase that a lot of kind of cognitive and psychic abilities can be derived from that process. So there are a lot of very interesting grounds to research exactly what this kind of gold sweat, as it's sort of referred to, coming from an otherwise silver-colored mercuric ball actually is, and what people are doing to themselves when they, in fact, claim to have these kind of changes occur in their meditations. This is a figure currently in Burma who is believed to be several hundred years old, lives on a mountain called Nagamasa, meaning the mountain of the female dragon, believed to be in a cave dripping with liquid mercury. He comes down now once a year to his monastery, where he's still the official abbot, on the full moon in February. There. This is the alchemical forge used by contemporary practitioners, in this case at the monastery associated with the abbot, who you just saw the picture of. Here a monk with sunglasses gazing down into the crucible. In this case, one that's above ground. Sometimes they're buried beneath the ground. And the great bellows that you see here in front of the monastery. The tradition also is practiced among the laity. It's not in any way limited to monastic practitioners. In fact, quite the opposite. Often monk practitioners of alchemy come into opposition with more conservative elements of both Burmese government and particularly Buddhist orders, who believe that the whole pursuit of alchemy is actually very contrary to the Buddhist teachings. And if the whole idea is to escape the wheel of birth, death, and rebirth, why would one want to extend one's life indefinitely? And the conventional rationale given, reason for this given by monk practitioners, that they want to live long enough to be able to meet the future Buddha when he returns. And that is the only reason that they're otherwise prolonging their life, and it's not through attachment or any kind of worldly preoccupation. This is an interesting alchemist here, who actually, even though traditionally with the monks you use meditation as a way to actually alter the form by which your mercuric ball will emerge from the forge, so depending on the intention that you place into it, it will come out differently. So it's very much a view in which intention and mind and consciousness can alter material substance. In this case, by this practitioner, who is highly regarded as a healer, there's a motorcycle shop right beneath here, and he's rigged up an apparatus by which an engine forges his forge throughout the day, so he doesn't actually have to stand there at the bellows and activate it, nor does he have to be involved in any kind of intentionality involved in the forging of it. He believes firmly that it's actually a chemical process, and where you start with the mercury, but various other ingredients are added at different stages of the purification process. This is something that can go on for years. Sometimes different other chemicals are added, sometimes other metals, in some cases plants. In particular, there's an orchid that supposedly has psychoactive properties that has to be put into the forge at a particular stage in the development of the datlon, and that's only indicated by certain signs that appear on the datlon itself.